But one day on a Tuesday afternoon back in 2001, he goes, Randy, this is what's going to happen. You're going to write me a Tampa Bay Bucks fight song. You're going to write it tonight, and then you're going to come over to Clearwater tomorrow. We're going to record the vocals, and the TV crew's going to be here. And that, okay. So, no pressure. And they played my song in the parade going down the, hey, Tampa Bay. It's like,
that's awesome.
Jeff Porcaro, Steve Gadd. Those two guys influenced me more than any other drummers I've ever, But Jeff, man.
Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to Gig. I'm your host, Mike Redman. This is The Working Drummer, a 4-part series packed with insights on thriving as a freelance drummer, groove development, networking, session work, and the mindset that makes it all possible. Today, I'm so happy to have Randy Nichols as my guest. He's a longtime friend and one of the most sought-after drummers in Orlando, in large part because he understands the role of a drummer and his never-ending positive vibe. I really hope you enjoy this series, and if you do, please take a moment to like the show and share it with others. So as always, let's jump right in. You've seen it all. You were the first call singer and first call drummer in the studio world for years and years. Nobody could get in because they just wanted Randy. I wanted to focus this episode with you because of who you are. And I kind of wanted to focus on attitude. Patrick yesterday said, I said, what's the, one thing that's really, really important? He goes, you have to be a good hang. People they have to want to hang out with you, whether it's a live gig or, in the studio. And you've always had that. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it because you've always been you've always had this unwavering positive attitude. And
try to.
Yeah. So one of my first questions is it something that is, I know it's who you are as a person with your faith and everything, but is it also something that you had to kind of consciously work on?
Never, ever. My mom and dad, I blame my mom and dad.
Uh-huh.
They instilled work ethic in me like you can't believe. Even non-musical, when I was a kid, 14, 15, 16, my dad let me go work with, he was the construction superintendent.
Wow.
And he wouldn't spare any, Randy, go do that,
Yeah, yeah.
And he kicked my butt, man. And I learned work ethic, and not complaining. Don't be complaining. I'm going to move the sun's right in my eyes there. But, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
that's better.
And then my mom, oh my gosh, she same thing,
Mm-hmm.
I want the car washed like this, I
Uh-huh.
want that yard edged like this,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Very specific, but they were always happy people. And I guess I've always been happy, my whole life, really. I'm easily amused, maybe.
Yeah. You have a good sense of humor. Yeah. Yeah.
But
you can laugh at all the dumb drummer jokes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have the guitar one. The guitar one was, if you want to get a guitarist to turn down, you put music in front of them.
I love it. So, getting back to Stark Lake, I had bought a brand new set of Simmons drums.
I remember those. Yeah.
Remember those? That beautiful blue kit. And I paid like $7,000, which was a lot of money. Oh my
gosh. Wow.
And I remember bringing them into Stark Lake all excited. And I think you were the one that said, God, Randy, those sound really good. Can you get anything crazy out of those, like a snare drum?
So, how do you? Can you recall any times that your attitude is like the reason or had an influence on why you were getting so many jobs?
It's a very good question. I really didn't think about it back then. I just tried to be the best I could be every time I showed up anywhere. And tried to really hone in on what the client wanted, what the engineer wanted, what you guys wanted out of me.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a lump of clay and say, here, do what we need to do, But
it's kind of taking the ego out.
Oh yeah, that never really was the thing. And I remember those days of going from one studio to the other studio, the other studio. And sometimes on the same jingle, like you would have a jingle, then I'd do the same pitch for Hurley and then pitch for,
Yeah,
Jennings.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, somebody's going to kill me, because I'm the same guy on all the
Yeah, well, that's actually you deserved every bit of it. I mean, there was there was that small group of musicians that
yeah.
really just excelled at what they did, and there was all the work that was in Orlando, Florida at that time. You
Yeah.
guys
Oh,
had it.
God.
Well, the guy that yesterday that I interviewed, Patrick. Patrick is the drummer for Dirty Logic, which
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know if you've ever heard them. You have to. I'll send you a link.
Not Dirty Logic. I've heard Dirty Loops, but not Dirty Logic.
Dirty Logic is a wonderful, best tribute band probably ever. All they do is Steely Dan music. It's an 11-piece band,
Yeah.
note for note. And I told
Uh,
him yesterday, I said, I saw you guys in concert and I was just waiting for Asia. And I said, you just played it effortlessly, like, you're just breathing.
yeah.
So I'm sorry. Yeah, John Hammond is the drummer for Smoking
Oh,
Section.
gosh. I
So
can't wait to watch that.
yeah, he very, very professional. That's one thing I noticed about all of you drummers that are working drummers that are
Yeah.
always working, is there's a level of professionalism, beyond just your attitude and how cool you are to hang with.
Yeah.
There's this professional thing going on. Patrick yesterday said, "Look, I work so many different gigs. They may send me a set list for songs that I need to learn by tomorrow." And
Oh,
he
yeah.
says, "And I do."
Oh,
And
yeah.
whew, blew me
That
away.
sounds like my life. I've been working at the Orange Blossom Opry here
Mhm.
in Florida.
Yeah.
And we open for these huge acts are amazing. Lee Greenwood's coming next week,
Oh, uh-huh,
and Little Texas, Brady.
uh-huh.
Is Seals and Crofts 2,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
the
really?
son of Brady and the daughter of Crofts.
No
And they're
kidding.
absolutely brilliant. They're brilliant, But
What are they called? I'm going to look them up.
the Seals, they're called Seals and Croft 2.
Oh,
But
Seals
his
and
name is
Crofts.
Brady Seals,
Uh-huh.
and her name's Lua Crofts, and he's also the lead singer in Little Texas. I mean,
Oh,
Google Brady Seals, you'll flip.
okay.
And
Yeah,
but
that's
since I've started that gig 1 year ago, well, actually
mhm.
a year and 1 month, I've learned over 1,200 songs, and I've never learned that many songs in my life. But that's how we roll. I
Yeah.
mean, like we do a showcase or something, I have to learn
Yep.
14, 15, 16 songs, bang,
Wow.
and then have them in like you've played them your whole life.
Do you write charts for them, or are you still
Oh yeah, I
memorizing
have
them?
my little
Yeah.
micro
Okay.
charts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say,
But,
man, if you'd make me feel bad if you actually memorize them. I can't remember a phone number.
well,
So
once I play them about 4 or 5 times, I'm good.
yeah.
I don't have to look at them anymore. But once you
Wow.
get that in your head, that little roadmap looking thing,
Mhm.
it kind of ingrains it. But
Yeah. So,
but,
what's the toughest part of being a full-time drummer? I know you do other things which we'll talk about, but
yeah, toughest thing, just maintaining clarity
mhm.
and just the physical thing of it. I still
Mm,
feel really good drumming. I can play for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. When it's nothing.
fantastic.
And then I'll get home and Kathy will rub my back with her feet.
Oh man,
She's such a nice wife.
oh, you got that.
Over here, honey, that hurts. Oh, great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm bringing home the bacon, man.
Yeah, right. But really, I just love every minute of it. If I'm playing, I'm having fun. If I'm singing, I'm having fun, and I get to do a lot of both still,
Yeah, that's
um,
fantastic.
I'll get
Yeah,
up
it's
and do my jingles, I'll get up, and my schedule is very demanding now. So I
mhm.
literally get up at like 5 o'clock and go knock out vocals in my
Wow.
little studio here just to be at a 10 o'clock hit somewhere, but I got to do it. You got to do what it takes, no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
that's
had
the way
that passion that drives you. And I remember that I used to practice 12 hours a day. And when I had my studio, I was up never at 5. That's like beyond me. But
yeah.
I get up at 7, but I'd
Yeah.
work till midnight. And I just loved every second of it. It's
Yeah. Once you're going, and then, sometimes you'll feel a little rough or feel some of my, I got a cut on my hand or something. And you get there and it all goes away, man. You sit on that drum stool and you don't worry about anything, the way you feel, nothing. It's just, let's go.
Wow. Wow. That's
Hey,
incredible.
you know what I mean? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I do.
No,
Oh, look. Oh my gosh. Get out of here. Okay. For those of you watching this, that was a
yes.
company that I had starting in 1995. And if you
Isn't that
notice,
great?
yeah, we spelled the name really poorly.
Yeah.
We thought it was really cool. It was Brithaus, and it was like, what the heck is that? We ended up changing that name twice because
I
nobody understood
couldn't
it.
resist doing that today.
Oh, that is so cool. I don't have one of those, man. I haven't seen one of
I
those in
revere
years.
it.
Oh, that's really neat. That makes me feel good. So, thinking about, what you're doing, what you're saying, do you have any like lessons learned or something you could share with other drummers that they're not like you? They may be more introverted or they're doing that half, cup half empty.
Sure.
Something that might help them, keep things from getting in their way.
Yeah. I'll get roundabout to that, but I do have a
Okay.
great story.
Love
When
it.
I was 19, I was into the group Chicago, Danny
Oh
Serafine,
yeah.
the drummer, and
Yeah.
he was just so great. And I just thrived on Danny Serafine in Chicago. And so I went out with this group on the road when I just fell out of high school and
Uh-huh.
green, and I got a chance to play with Roy Clark, the Roy Clark,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and what a great guy, what a great man he is or was. But so we're in a rehearsal. Everybody's on stage, and and it's just going great. And then he stops the rehearsal and goes, "So, what's your name?" And I said,
Uh-huh.
"Randy." He goes, "Randy, God, I really like the way you play, man. He's really,
Mm.
really good. Just want you to remember one thing:
Mhm.
I'm the star." And he didn't mean it being a jerk either.
No. Oh, good. Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, I want you to think simple, simple. Make the band sound good." And it was
Mm.
like an epiphany, like a lightning bolt went straight through my head. Like,
Hmm.
oh, it's not all about me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge.
you know
That
so you
that's
get
really
yourself
huge.
out of the equation a little bit and start using your ears and fitting in and and
Hmm.
driving that train when it's time, and then listening and backpedaling a little bit, and there's all
Yeah.
that. It's called music. I mean, it's
Yeah.
but yeah, I tell you, as far as the motivational thing, I just be happy to have a job. If you have something that you're playing or doing, and
Hmm.
you need to love that, and
Yeah.
own it, and do everything you can to make it great as it can be.
Yeah.
Cup way half full.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's something, I guess maybe some of that comes from, being a musician to begin with is a hard life for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
And being in those positions where, you're watching X guy get all the gigs and you're back there and you're also really good
yeah,
to start looking at what they're doing that's
yeah.
making them successful,
Right.
because there is a reason that everybody's calling them, and
Yeah,
it's usually just not just for chops. It's like
yeah,
Patrick said, it's are you fun to hang out with, you
yeah.
know, because
I
there are a million drummers that are really good.
yeah. I have a friend. I'm not going to mention his name,
Hmm.
but he is the exact epitome of what we're talking about.
Mm,
He makes me feel like this big because I get a lot of work.
mm,
He goes, "Oh,
hmm.
Randy, you get all the work," and
Oh,
and it's like, poor pitiful me thing.
mm, yeah.
And he's just a sad sack. And I
Hmm.
don't I know why he doesn't get any work, and he doesn't go that extra mile either about learning the song, the way it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, and you got to do all that.
Yeah. It's important that you put the work in, you know,
Yeah, put
I
the
mean,
time in, man.
you've
That
got to
way when you
be,
play you just have
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, right, right. Get to the
You're not
point where
sitting
you're
there
just
on
having
pins and
fun.
needles like, God, is this chorus going to be coming up now, or
Yeah.
no,
That
learn
sounds
it.
like me. It's like, shit, I can't really read this guitar chart. I'm not exactly sure where I'm at.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, a quick question though. You obviously you read music. So,
Oh yeah.
how did I mean you have always been a stable of the background, the chorus, and
Yeah.
also leading it a lot of times
Yeah.
and creating on the spot. which is
Yeah.
where I think the magic comes from.
Oh yeah.
Um, can you just go back a little bit and tell me about, how your kind of your music education, how you learned that
Sure.
stuff?
Sure. I thank my mom a lot in that
Mm.
regard.
Hmm.
Because I took classical piano at 11,
Hmm.
and also I learned from a guy in the Chicago Symphony, the principal percussionist in the
Hmm.
Chicago Symphony, Jim Pentorin, and he was a 6'6" guy. He
Wow.
was like a monster, and he was the
Hmm.
most powerful drummer. And he taught me, like, don't go, you don't have to go all the way up here. The
Yeah.
power is like the snap, and then that's how you
Hmm.
get that power. And then this is more theatrics, like,
Yeah. Right. Right.
but
Right.
so anyway, back to classical piano. It was so easy for me to learn,
Mm.
that I'd memorize it immediately. I mean,
Really.
I never, I just catch on really, really quick.
Hmm.
And so, my reading was hurting because of that, And
Oh,
so my
gotcha.
mom
Gotcha.
said, well, you got to make sure that you know how to read the music, because you're going to need that in the future. And she knew it.
Mm.
And I wouldn't have been able to do all those Disney sessions if I
Yeah.
hadn't gotten music theory at 11, and
Yeah.
piano training, and that classical stuff, and then the percussion, So
Yeah.
that's how it was ingrained, from day one. And I'm glad I did. I wouldn't have never gotten those Disney sessions or anything like sessions
Yeah.
anywhere.
That's interesting. Do you think
Yeah.
it's possible for guys that are in their 20s just to learn?
Oh yeah. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Yeah.
I think
You
so many
have,
people are just afraid of it.
yeah. And it's like they get to the edge and they go, okay, what do I do? Just jump, man. Just jump in.
Yeah.
And just do it. You gotta have that thing.
So, Randy, you've played countless Disney sessions, and you also have done work with people connected to the Backstreet Boys, Deep Purple, Quiet Riot, Mile High Hatchet, a long, long list. I'm sure that all those gigs didn't just fall into your lap. How do you go about getting work? I mean, do you do any networking? Do you have an agent? Is it word of mouth? What do you do? Or do
For
you pay
me,
people?
hey, you want to?
Yeah.
No, I think I've never really, fervently gone out
Hmm.
looking for work. I was just on this ground floor in Orlando. You know how that
Yep.
is, where
Yep.
it's,
Hmm.
and everybody just called me, and it was word of mouth, and then bang bang. Now I have I've networked a lot too,
Yeah.
but it's just mainly, God, I have so much that comes my way that I really don't go looking for it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know
I
how
would
to
say, I
describe
would say, knowing you, that a lot of your longevity is just because you are a good hang, and
that.
and and
Yeah,
uh, you can't just be a good hang. You've got to actually have be able to back it up. So I
yeah.
don't,
Oh
your
yeah,
talent is never in question.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
is it kind of that, just over the years, you've built your network, and
yeah,
people say, oh, you should call Randy,
yeah, yeah.
that kind of thing.
Like
Yeah.
one time, talking about having to do it right away.
Hmm.
Um, a friend of mine, and you know him, Jeff Arthur, over
Oh
in
yeah.
Clearwater. He's a great friend, and we've known each other forever. And I've done so many jingles and written so much music for him.
Sure.
It's crazy. But one day on a Tuesday afternoon, back in 2001, he goes, Randy, this is what's going to happen.
Hmm.
You're going to write me a Tampa Bay Bucks fight song, and
Mm.
you're going to write it tonight, and then you're going to come over to Clearwater tomorrow, and we're going to record the vocals, and the TV
Wow.
crew's going to be here, and that, okay. So, no pressure. So I did, they
Uh-huh.
did, the rest is history. But it
That's
was a
awesome.
rush to them win the Super Bowl, and they
Yeah.
played my song, then the parade
That's
going down, hey, Tampa Bay. It's like,
that's awesome,
it's a
man.
rush to
Yeah.
hear it on Monday Night Football or something like that. It's just, I feel like a little kid when I hear those things that
Yeah.
I've done. Whether it's a Ford commercial in Poughkeepsie or it's just anything like that just gives me the biggest rush. Still.
Yeah. I
We're
had a
going.
couple of occasions where things like that happen, and I know the
Yeah.
feeling you're talking about, where it's also validation, because
Yeah.
as
Oh yeah.
musicians, as musicians, we deep down inside never ever think we're that good.
Yeah.
And when you hear something like that, it's like, wow, maybe, I belong, this is what I should be doing.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
in the Jerk movie. I could be somebody.
All I need is this lamp. What are you doing these days? I know you were moving before I left. You were
Hmm.
moving earnest into composing and in town,
Yeah.
and I think that you probably took my spot, and you're doing a lot. So you're doing
I
a
could
lot
never
of
take your spot.
you're doing a lot. No, you're doing a lot of different things. Can you fill us
Yes,
in?
I am. And well, just this past December, you remember Shalisa?
Yeah, I
You
knew the
probably,
name.
yeah. They have a great company, and they hired me a lot to do stuff for Universal
Hmm.
and Disney. And so I did a couple of, he came to me with a project. It was so fun because he said, this is going to be like a Charles Dickens thing.
Hmm.
And Charles Dickens is sitting at the, Scrooge is sitting at the table and his coffee cup moves by itself and it's real creepy,
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
it's a Christmas Carol thing. So he says, I want you to do Oh Come All Ye Faithful in a minor key,
Uh-huh. Oh,
and
okay.
a little town of Bethlehem in a minor key. So I got this weird Marilyn Manson thing in my head,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
really
Uh-huh.
slow and creepy with this organ,
Uh-huh.
cathedral organ. It came out so cool. But
Yeah.
that is the stuff I thrive on. I mean, just
Hmm.
total crazy. Here, do it. We're just giving you full license. Just do it. And
See, there's
so
a
that,
huge amount of trust in that. I had to work up
yeah.
to that, where
Oh, yeah.
I had people at Universal that called me for everything. I had some producers at Disney. It's like, this is what we're doing. I'll send you the video.
There you go.
Um, I'll tell you how I stopped, which is embarrassing, but I don't mind sharing stuff like this. When I opened Brit Haas, or the production company, I had typically, when I was called by like Linda Hill or somebody at
Hmm.
Disney, I typically on a 30-second spot spend about 12 hours straight, just banging. And when I opened the company, all of a sudden I had 28 employees. And Linda Hill called me one day. I hope she's not going to listen to this, but, but she called me one day, says, I got this thing. And she said, can you do it and have it ready tomorrow? And I went, yeah, sure. But I didn't really realize that I was in a different role now. I wasn't the composer guy. I was the business guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I wrote this music and I sent it over to her. And I get a call from her, Randy, and she goes, Mike, 'cause it was always, oh, this is fantastic. But this was, Mike,
Oh,
this sounds like you spent like an hour on it, and it's kind of dated.
oh,
And
wow.
in my mind, I mean, I just went numb because I was so hurt,
Oh,
but I also know the truth. And the truth
yeah.
was I spent 45 minutes on it, and I used an older piece and revamped it. So it
Yeah.
was dead. But that was the last piece of music I ever wrote commercially.
You're
And
kidding.
yep, and
Oh, my
but it's
God.
also, it was a huge learning for me. When you're in this, don't take, especially when you're popular, don't take that gig that you can't give it everything.
Yeah. Right.
And that was the lesson. And it was, I mean, it was funny but sad at the same time. And
Mhm.
I enjoyed the other part of the world. So you're doing music for all the
Yeah.
Orlando, the parks and
Yeah.
commercials and the
Yeah.
broadcast. Are
Tons of
you
that.
still you're drumming live as well with what's it called, the
Well,
Orlando
it's
the
at Orange Blossom Opry. I'm
Orange
in the house
Blossom?
band there. And
Okay,
my gosh, everybody in the band is an all-star. The
really,
bass player has played with everybody from Loretta Lynn, Trisha Yearwood, Peter Frampton.
really
I
nice.
mean, I can go on and on and on,
Yeah,
but he's a phenom, and every one of them has played with a zillion people. It's great.
that's
So,
cool.
but I play well this is kind of an offshoot thing, but it's to the story.
Hmm.
Um, Kathy and I have been married forever and ever, amen. But we had a tragedy as in our life, as you
Yeah,
well probably know. But
yeah,
we lost our daughter Michelle in a
yeah.
small plane crash.
Yes, I'm so
So
sorry.
you remember Mark Goff,
Yeah,
probably bass player.
sure. Hmm.
He
Very well.
called me before that happened, and he said, "We're doing a July 4th thing at the church. Would you be into playing with this church?" And I went, "Sure."
Yeah.
So then Michelle's incident, and so he called me and said, you know, I understand if you feel you can't see a way clear to do the July 4th thing. And I said, well, let me
Yeah.
think about it. Let me pray about it. And so I did. And I went ahead with the July 4th. And that was almost 15 years ago. I played there almost every Sunday morning for 15 years there.
No
So,
kidding.
yeah.
That's a very healing moment, I'm sure.
Those people just embraced me
Mm-hmm.
and Kathy like you just wouldn't believe. And
Wow. That's
so
fantastic. I mean,
love them.
that's the kind of stuff that you hope happens in life, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
not the tragedy, of course, but I
Right.
mean, the fact that you get accepted into a community and loved by the community, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
But out of
Wow.
those ashes
Hmm.
comes those tender green spurts that come up, you
Yeah.
know, and life moves on. And
Hmm.
I find myself telling Michelle's story to everyone,
Hmm.
but also you're not supposed to lose your kids, you know, and
Yeah.
so I reach out to people when I hear that they've lost a daughter or son, or
Hmm.
I reach out to them and try to shine a light
Yeah.
on a
I mean,
direction forward.
I can't imagine. I mean, my grandmother lost one of her sons really young. He was 27, lost him to brain cancer,
Mm, mm,
and she never recovered. You know, just
oh.
you know, every time she was alone, so. Okay, we got to get off of this.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Don't be sorry ever. So, this is one of the themes of this whole series. What do you think the future is looking like for, drummers playing live gigs? I mean, is it still good out there or what?
Yeah. Um, I see a lot of younger kids around the church
Yeah.
and everything, and then around wherever other places. But they, I always stress to them, like, don't take shortcuts. Like
Mm.
they'll try to just learn something, but don't really learn it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I always stress, like, go that little extra mile
Hmm.
and learn it pretty much like the record or something like that. Learn it
Yeah.
exact, and then you can, once you know it like that, then you can insert your own feel and your own this and that. It doesn't have to be the exact fill or
Hmm.
but for young guys, I kind of stress that
Yeah.
coming up and learning rudiments.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you have to have rudimental background. You have to. That's something that you got to have just for your wrist to work properly.
Sure.
And I've always been told, like, if you don't ever stop drumming because it's hard to get it back. And I've been paranoid my whole life, like, and so I've never stopped.
That's funny.
Maybe.
For me in guitar, I stopped playing, for probably 10, 15 years. And I went to play my guitar and it was fine. And it was like, wow, I'm playing new stuff.
Riding a bike.
Fast forward another 10 years and it's like, nope, can't do that thing I did. My hands won't stretch there, all of those things. So you're right. You have to keep it rolling.
Okay. All
Tell me
right.
about one of the best jobs you've ever played. One of those jobs where you walked away and just thought to yourself, man, this is what I meant to do.
Yeah. When I've written something for like a big thing like Universal or something,
Mm-hmm.
and adulation happens, and
Yeah.
and that's when I go, wow, this is the pinnacle, right? If it's not the pinnacle, it'll do till the pinnacle gets here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have had those moments for sure.
Yeah.
You
Do you expect to be doing this for a long time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to play till I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And the Orange Blossom Opry, I wasn't looking for that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to start out, it's about a 2-hour night, 3 nights a week.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask.
So that's, it's cool. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday started turning into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh.
And then 2 shows on Saturday and
goodness.
4 shows on, it's like, and so now we've had like 13, 15-day straight runs there. And that's very demanding.
Yeah. How do you keep up with the other work, the composing side?
That's what I'm saying. And I just told Kathy the other day, I said, man, I haven't written a cool song in a long time, in a year, because of
wow.
And I'm not blaming them, but I kind of am. But hope they're not hearing this. anyway, but they're the best owners there. Oh my gosh, the Opry, they just, and everybody huge goes through there. I mean, it's everybody.
That's got to be a blast. That's really got to be a
it
blast.
really it's so unique, and I've made so many drummer friends. Great drummers come through those doors. I mean, geez.
Really.
Yeah.
So okay, tell me about that one. So so what happens when I actually recorded a live album for Lee Greenwood in a warehouse in Orlando years ago.
No
And
kidding.
oh, it was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. Yeah. But
No.
what a wonderful man.
Yeah.
So somebody like him, but do they bring their own band? Do they bring a couple key players?
They bring their own band, but then a lot of times we're the band that plays with them.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy, I can't remember his name, but they trusted us. See, and Keith, our bass player, he's played with everybody. So he if he knows the person that's coming in, he'll say, well, just use our band if logistically can't make your band happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, and you can trust us. They'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And it is. It's like we played with Charlie Pride's son, Dion Pride. You talking about a ray of sunshine. That guy is an animal. He plays guitar, and he's just got the smile that just that big.
Wow.
And so this is so cool. We were, everybody else was back eating dinner, and I was there, and he was playing this thing on keys, and so I jumped on the drums and started playing with him, and he looked over and goes, "That's the beat I want. That's the beat." And so so there I'm going to be doing 2 songs, drums for him. So for 2 songs.
Nice.
Yeah. So you never know what's going to happen. And
that's cool.
Yeah. And it's very cool.
Wow. Okay. Favorite session you've ever recorded on?
Okay. I would say you probably remember him, but one of the top 3 is with Tony Battaglia at Bayshore Studios in Miami.
Okay.
And we cut 6 tracks of his in about 4 hours, and they were just phenomenal. And Bill Simzik was just, it's so cool. Nice. And Ed Michelle, the engineer that did a lot of the Eagles stuff. But I remember playing Henley's drums down there. These are Henley's drums.
Really?
Man. And they sound like pillows, like no ring. But you listen to the songs and they're real short, But that was pretty cool. That was very, very cool.
That's very cool. How about a hobby that's totally outside of music?
Hobby. I love canoeing. Haven't ridden one in a long time, but horseback riding. I love going to the mountains and just I love nature. My phone is slammed full of pictures. At the Opry, there's this lake that is nearby, so I constantly go to the lake and just hang. So I would say nature is a huge hobby of mine. Just enjoying it.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you. That's one of the reasons I love North Carolina so much.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You're sort of surrounded by it. Now, I have to say, my wife does not like the cold, and I was trying to convince her that she could handle it. And then I've been looking at the weather up there, and I'm like, I'm not going up there.
I was just up in North Georgia visiting Teresa, my sister, up there, and and it was cold up there. Yeah, but I was like, this is my kind of weather, man. I come out of hibernation. It's great.
How about this? The best drummer ever?
There's so dang many. I still marvel at Neil Peart. Neil Peart. Why? Just because of his technical ability, and he's never. You can tell he just doesn't ever tense up. It's just fluid, and you're hearing this. You're almost seeing him and not believing that that's coming out of him when he's just. And that's that economical. He's got that economical movement. He's not like but it's just like and just crazy time feels. The time signatures I love. I was a Yes freak, Yes fan. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And but Neil Peart is way up there. Weckl is up there, and Ringo Starr.
Really?
Gosh, yeah. For just total innovation.
I've never heard anybody say that, but that's interesting.
Well, I heard him in an interview and on "Come Together,"
Hmm.
that song "Come Together,"
Yeah.
and he was saying that he had to play it like that because he's left-handed, so he had he was backward,
Oh, wow.
and he
Oh,
said I had to
interesting.
play the regular kit, but it was backwards. So it's
Oh.
like it was that's kind of funny.
Yeah, no
But
kidding.
Ringo was, believe it, in his own right, was pretty innovative.
Yeah.
Those great Beatle beats he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Interesting.
but
How
I
about
love a drummer that can
mhm.
just blast it out like Neil Peart and then play 2 and 4, man, just hard groove.
Yeah.
That like nothing else is needed here. This
Uh-huh.
says it all. Give me a kick, hi-hat, and snare.
Yeah, no kidding. I
Yeah.
like the drummer that plays in uh, Dirty Loops. He's
Oh God, he's
pretty
so great.
amazing. So
He's
amazing.
he's a guy like Neil. He just can burn it up and
Yeah.
then lay it down, man. Just like, ooh,
It's something.
love it.
Those guys amaze me. Hey, last one of these. Someplace you've always wanted to play.
Someplace I always wanted to play.
Hmm.
Red Rocks, Colorado,
Oh
Hollywood
yeah.
Bowl. That would be a lot of fun. Madison Square Garden. What the
Yeah.
heck? But
Yeah.
Kathy just sent me a note, and
Hmm.
and and I don't know why I didn't remember this because Jeff Porcaro.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
He's
reason I got into drumming was Porcaro,
hmm
Steve Gadd. Those
hmm
two guys influenced me more than any other drummers I've ever. But Jeff, man,
yeah.
we were in a session at BJ Recording Studios, and my brother-in-law George Atwell, he
Hmm.
said, this is way long ago, and he says, you know what, I'm gonna go call Jeff Porcaro.
Uh-huh.
So we looked his number up in the L.A. Union
Uh-huh.
and got him, and Jeff answered the doggone phone,
Yeah.
and they had this conversation, and then at the end of the conversation, Jeff went, we're forming this band. I don't know if it's ever going to do anything. It's called
Uh,
Toto,
oh
and
no.
and
Oh
we
my
we
gosh.
were going like Toto, like the little dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. Like he's, oh my gosh, it's
Wow,
yeah,
that's wild. I'm in touch with Steve Porcaro fairly regularly. All of those guys are just so
yeah,
incredible. Hey, speaking of George Atwell,
yeah.
it's Michael, right? How's his son? Is he still playing music?
Oh yeah, he's a Disney go-to guy. He
Is
travels. He
he?
just was at Abbey Road doing
Uh,
Disney stuff.
oh
That's
wow.
his main staple, the Disney.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I remember sitting in this session with George Outwell before MIDI and
yeah,
sequencers, playing some song where he had to play the bass. It's like do 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 do, and he had to do it for a whole song
yeah,
manually. And
yeah,
I was sitting an
and it was
engineer at the
nailed.
time, and I thought, damn,
Yeah,
dang,
he's
how does somebody do that?
yeah,
Uh, but he
he's
say
phenomenal.
is George still playing?
Yeah, George is semi-retired, but he's up in
Hmm.
North Georgia, and
Oh,
he
okay.
plays at a church up there.
Hmm.
That's what he's
That,
doing, and Teresa also. So
wow.
they're up there having a fun, and
Yeah.
and they have a beautiful house up there, right in the woods and
Mm,
mountains. It's
nice.
gorgeous. Just came down back from there,
Yeah.
and man, mental floss. You go up there and you just go, oh.
Yeah, there is
You
that, and
know
a lot
about
of
that?
people. I hope that most people don't, go up there.
Yeah.
I hope they don't find it.
Well,
Randy. We're going to wrap it up. I just want to talk about a couple of the main points. Any last thoughts you have for drummers about keeping that attitude up and keeping their mood up when things are not looking great, for them.
um, well, I find that faith has a lot to do with that.
Hmm.
Um, it really does, and keeping an attitude that is conducive to working environments
Hmm.
and playing drums and anything like that. But that kind of clears your head and your mind to be receptive to what
Yeah.
people want out of you.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. And even if you're not thinking that way, thinking along those lines exactly, that's kind of ingrained, and that'll just come out naturally. I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
keeping that helps you keep that attitude right.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I've practiced it. Practice certain things. Practice being in a good mood. Wake up in the morning and if you're not feeling good, pretend. And they say if you
Oh
pretend for
yeah.
a while, it kind of catches.
Oh
You
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Randy, I love you. I
Love
really
you too,
appreciate
buddy.
you spending some time with me. It's more than the podcast. This is just so good to see you and see that
Yeah,
smiling
buddy.
face, brother.
And
Yep, bright house. I love that.